All right, so today we're diving into something a little different.
Oh,
Love spells.
okay.
Yeah, you sent over this collection of like 30 spells,
Uh-huh.
and they all use these everyday ingredients, right? Like
Right.
cinnamon, honey.
Interesting.
And I have to say, just the variety of intentions here,
Yeah.
it's fascinating.
It really is. It's like a fascinating reflection of just like human desire, isn't it?
Yeah,
We're not just talking about, you know, finding love.
right.
It's attracting a specific person or renewing a fading connection,
How-
even bringing back an ex.
Yeah, and the spells themselves are so specific.
Yeah.
Like there's one, the cinnamon footstep spell,
Okay.
to make someone fall in love with you as they walk by.
Wow.
What's the logic behind all these ingredients and these actions?
Well, a lot of the ingredients, I think, they carry a certain symbolic weight across cultures.
Okay.
Like honey, for instance, often represents sweetness and attraction,
Uh-huh.
and eggs with their, protective shells and their potential for new life.
Yeah.
They're often seen as like vessels for intentions.
So it's almost like imbuing these everyday objects with a deeper meaning.
Exactly.
They're focusing your will through them.
Yeah. And even the rituals themselves.
Okay.
Like something as simple as blowing cinnamon powder
Right.
while you're whispering your desires.
Uh-huh.
It really taps into the power of visualization and focused intention.
It's interesting how the spells go beyond just like finding love.
Right.
There are categories for enhancing loyalty or commanding passion,
Mm-hmm.
even spells for bringing back an ex.
It really speaks to the complexities of love and relationships, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The desire for connection,
Wow.
for security, for passion,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes even for control.
Which raises an important question about the ethics of all of this.
Yeah.
Where do we draw the line between attracting love
Right.
and trying to manipulate someone's feelings?
That's the big question.
Yeah.
And it's definitely something we're going to explore further. It's one thing to try and boost your own attractiveness
Okay.
or to put out like a positive intention into the universe.
Hmm.
But when you get into spells that are aimed at like controlling someone's behavior,
Right.
that's when things get ethically murky.
Especially with spells like the picture under shoe spell,
Oh, yeah.
where you literally step on someone's photo
Oh, wow.
after sprinkling it with cinnamon.
Hmm.
It's a powerful image,
It is.
but it makes you wonder about the intent behind it.
It's a good example of how even these spells with these seemingly harmless ingredients,
Right.
they can tap into these like deeper psychological currents.
Yeah.
The symbolism of domination in that spell,
Uh-huh.
it's pretty clear.
Let's shift gears for a moment and talk about the cultural context of these spells.
Okay.
Do any of them have roots in older traditions?
Love magic.
Yeah.
It's surprisingly prevalent across cultures
Really?
and throughout history. While the specific ingredients and rituals might differ, this core idea of using symbolic actions to influence matters of the heart,
Yeah.
it's a common thread.
So the spells we're looking at today,
Yeah,
they could be drawing from this rich tapestry of magical traditions,
exactly.
which makes sense given the range of intentions we're seeing here.
Uh-huh.
But the big question everyone wants to know is,
What's that?
do these spells actually work?
That's where things get complicated.
Oh,
Because how do you define work in this context?
good point.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we'll delve into in part 2.
All right, sounds good. Well, from like a scientific standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
there's no evidence that cinnamon or honey can directly like change someone's feelings.
Okay, so no magic love potion.
Right.
But
Yeah.
there's going to be more to it than that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, why else would these practices be so persistent
Right.
across cultures and time?
Well, think about the power of belief and ritual.
Okay.
The act of performing a spell, like
Yeah.
focusing your intention,
Right.
believing in its potential. All of that can create a sense of agency and control,
Huh.
even if it's not like directly manipulating external forces.
So you're saying even if the spell itself doesn't work
Yeah.
in a literal sense,
Right.
the psychological impact on the person casting it
Exactly.
could be significant.
Imagine someone performing the cinnamon footstep spell.
Okay.
They sprinkle the cinnamon.
Uh-huh.
They visualize their desired outcome.
Yeah.
Maybe they even feel like a surge of confidence or hope.
Yeah.
That shift in mindset,
Okay.
it can subtly influence their behavior,
How so?
making them more open to connection or
Mm.
more likely to act on their feelings.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way.
Right.
And there's that whole placebo effect thing too, right?
Exactly.
The power of belief actually leading to tangible results.
Precisely. If you believe a love spell will make you more attractive or desirable,
Okay.
You might unconsciously start acting in ways that reflect that belief.
Interesting.
You might smile more, make more eye contact,
Right.
even take more risks in approaching someone you're attracted to.
So it's not the cinnamon working its magic.
Right.
It's the person's own belief
Yeah.
and the actions they take as a result of that belief.
That's a great way to put it.
Hmm.
The ingredients, the rituals, the words,
Uh-huh.
they're all tools for focusing intention and belief,
Okay.
for channeling your desires and energies.
But even if we acknowledge the potential psychological effects,
Yeah.
there's still that ethical question lingering, right? Is it okay to use these spells even if it's primarily the placebo effect at play?
That's where the conversation gets nuanced.
Okay.
If we accept that these spells work primarily through the power of belief,
Uh-huh.
then the ethical considerations kind of shift inward.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes less about manipulating external forces
Mm-hmm.
and more about examining our own intentions and motivations.
So instead of asking, am I violating someone's free will, we should be asking, why do I feel the need to use magic to achieve this outcome?
Exactly. If you're using a love spell to boost your own confidence
Okay.
or to align yourself with the possibility of love,
Right.
that's very different from using a spell to try and control someone's feelings
Uh-huh.
or to force them into a relationship they don't want.
It all comes down to intention and respect,
Yeah.
even in the realm of magic.
I think that's a really key takeaway here.
Yeah.
Whether or not you believe in the supernatural power of these spells, they force you to confront these fundamental questions about love,
Yeah.
desire, and the limits of influence.
We've talked about specific spells,
Right.
the symbolism of the ingredients,
Right.
the potential for self-fulfilling prophecies,
Yeah.
and the ethical considerations.
Mhm.
But we haven't really touched on the fact that love magic
Right.
has existed across so many cultures and time periods.
It's true.
What can that tell us?
It speaks to a universal human desire for connection, for love, for understanding the mysteries of the heart.
Mm-hmm.
These spells, in a way,
Yeah.
they're an attempt to make sense of those mysteries.
Right.
To exert some control over something
Uh-huh.
that often feels chaotic and unpredictable.
It's like we're trying to impose order on something
Yeah.
that by its very nature defies easy categorization or control.
And perhaps that's part of the allure of love magic.
Okay.
It offers a sense of hope, of possibility,
Yeah.
even in the face of heartbreak or uncertainty. It's a way of saying, even though I don't fully understand love,
Okay.
maybe I can influence it.
Wait.
Maybe I can tip the scales in my favor.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily about controlling the other person,
Right.
but about influencing the situation, about putting yourself out there in a way that feels empowered,
Yeah.
even if it's through a symbolic act.
Exactly. It's about taking action, even if that action is primarily symbolic, as a way of affirming your desire, your intention,
Right.
your belief in the possibility of love.
So what does all of this tell us
Yeah.
about the question we posed earlier?
Yeah.
Do love spells actually work?
I think the answer is more complex than a simple yes or no.
Okay.
There's no scientific evidence to support the idea that they can directly manipulate another person's feelings,
Right.
but they can work on a psychological level,
Uh-huh.
influencing the caster's beliefs,
Yeah.
actions, and ultimately their experiences.
It's like they're a tool for self-discovery and manifestation,
Yeah.
rather than a way to control someone else's destiny.
That's a great way to sum it up. Love spells might not be about bending the universe to your will, but about understanding your own desires and taking action, even symbolic action,
Okay.
to bring them into being.
This has been a fascinating deep dive so far,
It has.
and I feel like we've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
But before we wrap things up, I'd love to get your take on something.
Okay.
Of all the love spell categories we've discussed, attracting love, renewing love, bringing back an ex,
Right.
which one do you think is the most inherently human? The one that speaks to the most universal desires and anxieties around love?
That's a thought-provoking question.
Yeah.
Each category offers a glimpse into different facets of the human experience of love. But if I had to choose, I'd say the spells focused on attracting love are the most inherently human.
Attracting love.
Yeah.
Why that category in particular?
Think about it. That initial spark, That yearning for connection.
Right.
It drives so many of our actions and desires.
Yeah.
It's a universal experience,
It's true.
whether you believe in magic or not.
We all crave that feeling.
Yeah.
Of being seen, of being desired,
Yeah.
of finding someone who understands us on a deeper level.
Exactly. And these spells,
Yeah.
even with their sometimes outlandish rituals, they tap into that primal longing for connection.
Right.
They offer like a glimmer of hope, a sense of possibility in a realm that often feels beyond our control.
It's like their way of saying,
Yeah.
I'm here, I'm open to love.
Right?
And I'm willing to put myself out there.
Precisely.
Right.
And even if the spells themselves don't have any literal power, the act of performing them, it can be a really powerful affirmation of that desire for connection.
It's interesting how these spells, while they're focused on attracting love, they also reveal a lot about our fears and insecurities.
Absolutely.
Oh.
The spells to enhance loyalty, for example.
Okay.
They speak to the fear of abandonment, the desire for security and exclusivity, and the spells to bring back an ex.
Yeah.
Well, those tap into the longing for what was lost, the hope for a second chance.
It seems like no matter what the specific intention is, there's always an underlying human emotion driving it.
Yeah.
Whether it's hope, longing, fear, or even desperation.
And that's what makes these spells so fascinating to study.
Really?
They're not just about magic.
Okay.
They're about the human condition.
Interesting.
They're a reflection of our deepest desires, our greatest fears, and our eternal quest for love and connection.
We've covered so much ground in this deep dive.
Yeah.
We've explored the variety of love spells, the symbolism behind the ingredients, the potential psychological effects, the ethical considerations, and the cultural and historical context.
It's been quite a journey.
It's been a truly insightful journey.
It has.
So, as we wrap things up,
I
have one final question for you, dear listener.
All right.
After exploring all of this, what are your thoughts on love spells? Do you see them as harmless fun? A fascinating window into the human psyche? Or something to be approached with caution?
Perhaps it's a bit of all three. What's most important is that you approach these practices with an open mind, a critical eye, and a healthy dose of self-awareness.
And who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe a pinch of cinnamon for good measure.
Thanks
for joining us on this deep dive into the world of love spells.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
We hope you've enjoyed the journey as much as we have.
Until next time, may your heart be open to the possibilities,
Yes.
magical or otherwise.